She stood there, silent, tears forming, the whole arena watching. Stephanie Vaquer inches from her face, screaming in Spanish and Daddy DOM translating every single word directly into Liv Morgan's soul. The camera stayed glued to Liv's face and what the world saw looked like a woman breaking. But now, Liv Morgan herself is stepping forward to tell you what really happened that night on Raw. And familia, her explanation is either the most hilarious thing you've heard all year or the biggest cover story in WrestleMania history. Welcome back to Wrestling Streams, the only place where we give you no filler, just fire. I'm your host, and tonight we are diving deep into the moment that broke the internet, the backstage confrontation that had fans absolutely convinced Liv Morgan finally cracked, and the reveal she just dropped that as the WWE Universe split right down the middle. Buckle up, because this is one of the wildest stories on the road to WrestleMania 42, and it's 100% real. Let's set the scene properly, because context is everything. During the February 16th episode of WWE Raw, Stephanie Vaquer delivered a fiery promo entirely in Spanish while Dominic Mysterio translated it directly to Liv Morgan. The camera stayed tight on Liv as she listened in silence before appearing to tear up and walk away. Now think about what that looked like in real time. Vaquer is one of the most intense, passionate performers on the entire roster. This woman has spent years grinding on the independents, fighting for every single opportunity, coming up from a country Chile where professional wrestling barely had a footprint. And now she's the women's world champion standing inches away from the Royal Rumble winner, screaming her truth in her native language, with Dominic Mysterio, Liv's own on-screen partner, forced to deliver every word. That is elite storytelling. That is cinema. And Liv Morgan's reaction made it look like Vaquer had cracked something open inside her. Many interpreted the moment as Vaquer getting under her skin. Social media absolutely exploded. Clips of Liv's face went viral within minutes. Fans were saying this was the most real, most vulnerable moment Liv Morgan had ever had on television. Some people thought this was the moment the character finally evolved, that Liv was feeling the weight of WrestleMania, feeling the pressure of carrying the women's division into the biggest stage of the year. The discourse was everywhere. And then Liv Morgan opened her mouth. During a recent edition of the Going Ringside podcast, Liv explained why she broke down on Raw. And her explanation? A piece of dust. A massive, rogue piece of arena dust that flew directly into her eye at the exact wrong moment. In her own words, Liv said it hurt a little more hearing Vaquer's words come out of Dominic's voice, but then she insisted that what viewers saw as tears was actually just her eye reacting to a foreign particle hitting her face. She said if you looked closely, you could see it happen. She was not emotional. She was not cracking under pressure. It was just dust. Now familia, I need you to sit with that for a second. Because this explanation is either absolutely hilarious, completely genius, or both at the same time. Think about the timing. Think about how perfectly that story landed visually, emotionally, narratively. The whole segment was constructed to make it look like Vaquer was dismantling Liv psychologically. And for it to be undone by a speck of dust? That is either the best excuse ever told, or Liv Morgan just played every wrestling journalist and fan on the planet like a fiddle. And honestly, both options make her more interesting. Here is why this actually matters beyond the meme. The feud between Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer heading into WrestleMania 42 is built on a very specific foundation. A promo from Vaquer on Raw accused Morgan of having everything handed to her, an idea that Morgan has pushed back on hard. Vaquer's entire character is the grinder, the woman who clawed her way through the Latin American independent scene, who had to earn every single thing in a country with no infrastructure for women's wrestling. Liv Morgan's entire character is the opposite, someone developed inside the WWE system, in NXT, polished and packaged. And now Morgan is fighting back, saying she thinks about her journey every single Monday she's at Raw, and that it's sweeter because it was on her time and done her way. So when Vaquer screams at her in Spanish and Liv appears to cry, that is not just a random moment. That is the central conflict of this feud playing out in real time. Is Liv actually the shallow, entitled persona Vaquer accuses her of being? Or does she have more depth, more fire, more resilience than anyone gives her credit for? And now that she's out here saying it was just dust, is she protecting her image? Is she refusing to give Vaquer the satisfaction of knowing those words landed? Or is she genuinely telling the truth and the whole internet overreacted? That ambiguity is storytelling gold, and whether it was scripted or spontaneous, it is working. Let's also talk about where Liv Morgan is right now as we head into Las Vegas. Liv Morgan won the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble match and immediately set her sights on the Women's World Championship. Triple H himself sent a message hyping up Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 42. This is a main card WrestleMania match with serious stakes, serious storytelling, and two performers who are genuinely making each other better every single week. And we should not overlook how significant Liv's journey to this point has been. She spent months on the shelf recovering from a serious shoulder injury, suffered during the June 16, 2025 episode of Raw when she was tripped and landed awkwardly during a match against Kairi Sane. She had surgery. She rehabbed. She came back and won the Royal Rumble. and now she's weeks away from the biggest match of her career. So the dust moment? It might just be the most perfectly timed piece of controversy this feud could have asked for, because now everyone is talking about Liv Morgan, everyone is picking a side, and that is exactly what WrestleMania season demands. Liv Morgan is not breaking, she is building, and on April 18th at Allegiant Stadium, we are going to find out whether she is everything she says she is or whether Stephanie Vaquer exposes something deeper than a promo ever could. That's the breakdown, familia. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe the dust story, or did Vaquer genuinely get to her? Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the stream, and share this with every wrestling fan you know who needs the real story. No filler, just fire.